is more fun if I let loose. One more time. These days, I have been thinking that life is more fun if I let loose. Now remember that your connection was also correct, but this is just my recommendation, so you can utilize both of the sentences. And I always have my set of recommendations too. This is what I would like to tweet back to Mr. Jim Carrey. Albert Einstein once said, great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds. You're thinking, what in the world is she talking about? Now here I applied a quote, actually one of my favorite quotes ever in the history of mankind. 알버트 아인슈타인이 이런 말을 한 적이 있습니다. Great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds. Now let's take this piece by piece. Great spirit이라는 말은 뭔가 오염되지 않고 밝고 좀 명랑하고 또 영혼이 맑은 사람을 보고 great spirit이라고 할 수 있어요. Great spirit. 뭔가 세상적인 인플루언스를 받지 않은 사람 보고 great spirit이라고 할 수 있겠죠. And have always encountered. To encounter literally means to come across, to get into conflict with. 뭔가 부딪혔을 때 encounter라는 verb를 사용할 수 있는데요. Now what did you come across? A violent opposition from mediocre minds. Opposition is 뭔가 반대할 때, 사람이 반대할 때 opposed to라는 말 많이 쓰죠? So opposition literally means 반대. From mediocre minds. Now mediocre mind literally means like an average mind, the average old Joe. But in this context, it has a negative connotation, which literally means 뭔가 썩 뛰어나지 않은 마음과 마음가짐을 가진 사람을 보고 a mediocre mind 라고 할 수 있어요. 되게 기분 나쁜 말이죠? Mediocre minds. So altogether, I could say, Albert Einstein once said, great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds. And what do I like to elaborate on this? Don't let mediocre minds stop you from being great. You're a whiz at what you do. Now this is an expression that we learned earlier, right? Don't let mediocre minds stop you from being great. 뭔가 좀 나에게 안 좋게 말을 하는 사람들이나 또 썩 뛰어나지 않은 사람들이 하는 말에는 신경 쓰지 마세요. 신경 쓰지 말고 당신은 당신이 하는 일에 최고입니다. Don't let them stop you from being great. You're a whiz at what you do. 아까 저희가 배운 expression이죠. 당신은 이 일에 대한 최고예요. 좀 천재예요. 이런 뜻이었죠. You're a whiz at what you do. So one more time, I would like to tweet. Don't let mediocre minds stop you from being great. You're a whiz at what you do. Now although I want to tweet this to Jim Carrey, this is something that I can apply to really every one of us, actually to myself as well. It's a tweet I want to look back from maybe like 2 years from now and say, hey, it's a little bit of word of encouragement or a word of advice to myself. Don't let mediocre minds stop you from being great. You're a whiz at what you do. You're a whiz at being a great writer, so don't let people stop you or negative connotations stop you from being great. Now, we learned the expression, you're a whiz at what you do today, and we learned that it could be applied to different contexts, different geniuses, different people who are good at what they do in different genres or different backgrounds. So let's take a look at the example just one more time before we say goodbye. Now, the first one was, of course, 짐 캐리는 코미디의 천재라고 생각합니다. 짐 캐리는 코미디의 천재라고 생각합니다. What was it? I think Jim Carrey is a whiz. He is a whiz when it comes to comedy. He is a whiz when it comes to comedy. 자, 또 다른 질문. 마사 그레엄은 현대무용의 천재였다고 생각합니다. It's a past tense, right? I think Martha Graham was a whiz when it came to modern dance. Was a whiz. Now, first expression I want you to take away is I think somebody was a whiz at what they do. I think somebody is a whiz at what they do. 천재라고 생각합니다. A whiz, like a wizard. And the second expression we learned today was 꼭 보고 싶네요. 저도 그 영화를 꼭 보고 싶네요. When you want to watch something really badly, you would love to do it. You would love to do it. That's the clue. 저도 그 영화를 꼭 보고 싶네요는 뭐라고 하죠? I would love to watch that movie myself. Myself was, of course, to emphasize it. So one more time. I would love to watch the movie myself. All right. Now remember the words that we utilize today could be differentiated and it could be utilized in different contexts, so remember that. And on that note, we're ready to say goodbye already. But before we go on and say adieu, I want to give you just one quote before we go. And it is, one very wise person said, a professional writer is an amateur who never gave up. So don't give up. Keep watching our programs at, of course, ebse.co.kr. Leave us comments, leave us tweets, and we'll be glad to get in contact with you. On that note, I'll see you all next time. Bye.